Hello.
Hello.
Today we are going to do our podcast on an introduction. So we're going to be, we've got some constructive feedback last week, got some lovely feedback, but we also got, tell us a little bit about you, which I thought, we missed out. So we are going to share, a little bit about us and, why we're doing this and how we got here, etc. So are you okay if I start, Leanne?
Absolutely fantastic about that.
Okay, so as I'm Hayley, and we have been speaking about doing this podcast for a few weeks now, and I know this coming to my own thoughts for about a couple of months ago, but fear took over, etc. But a little bit about my background. Around about the age of 26, after I had my first daughter. Before then, I called it I'd been asleep. So I was just going through life as, just in a program, should we say. But I remember when I had my daughter, I remember the biggest thing for me was relationships. So I'd had a few relationships that were not healthy. And when I separated from my daughter's dad, I realised life wasn't working, and I had to look in the mirror and think, hang on a minute, you keep on repeating these same relationships, there must be something going on. You need to look at yourself here as well. Can't just blame the other person, which was what I was doing. So so I call that moment when I woke up, when I started to be a little bit more responsible and look within, should we say. And I started by doing a counselling course. So I've become a qualified counsellor. Learned a lot about myself. But even after I qualified, there was still, this is more, it wasn't enough, should we say. And then I got into, I started to become a little bit more spiritual within, and started to find, I wanted to know the meaning to life. And again, I spent a little bit of time on that. And then it finally dawned on me. Stop trying to find the answers outside of you. Go within. Because I was reading books and listening to stuff, which all helped, but there was something missing, and it was going within. So then I woke up completely, shall we say. I started to see there was so much more to life than my mind had seen before, shall we say. And I started to see the relationships in a bit more depth this time, the past relationships, that I was in a relationship where I allowed people to treat me in a certain way. And the more I worked on myself and liked who I was, I started to notice, I'm in a really nice relationship now. What happened there then? I just thought that's what I can't. Yeah, so then I noticed, so by looking within and changing who I was to work towards being the true me, should we say, life started working, and I started to attract people that were treating me how I was treating myself. So it dawned on me, before people were coming into my life because that's how I was treating myself. And that was a big one for me. And then I thought, I want to do more than counselling. I want to share this because I know how it's helped me in my world, and how I've healed like past, traumas that I've had. And I want people to, if I could say one thing that may benefit one person, that's enough for me. Yeah. So this is my reasons why I'm doing it, and a little bit about myself. Now, I know during the podcast I'll probably share more stuff, but at the moment I'm going with what's happening right now for me, what I'm sharing.
Lovely, Hayley. No. Love Hayley so much. Right, my story. Well, not my story. I don't want to say it's a story, but I suppose it's a classic word that's used. But just a little bit of background. There's been quite a lot of background with me. As a child, there's been parents' divorce. I've had extremely bad health, being a diabetic child. Went off the rails as a teenager, and especially my early 20s with drugs and alcohol. Then it was when I and had quite a few, what I like to say, toxic relationships. Did exactly the same. Did kind of like always blame, always looking about what they're doing, and seeing, always been in that I've not done anything. But there was a massive rescuer in me back in those days, that I could help people, fix people. Now I just feel sick when I say that, because my understanding now is that no one is broken. It's our thoughts about ourselves that we think we're broken. And I really did see myself as damaged goods. So because I'd had a lot of abuse as a child, and I've experienced domestic abuse, not exactly great mental health, because I'd had all along the line, I was diabetic, and I really was living in my trauma of I'm damaged goods because this happened to me. So that's kind of one marvellous thing that has always been my guiding light is my son. And when I had him, life changed for me, because it wasn't about myself, it was about another. So I started off my kind of Hayley calls it becoming awake. And I agree with that, actually, because at that time you do feel like you're asleep because you're on the same treadmill, on that merry-go-round, going round and round and round, doing the same stuff, but wanting something more. So I started going on this eternal search, looking into different things, and stuff like that. But I did come across, they were asking for volunteers. Oh, I just hang on, backtrack. Major part of it. I'd done so much damage to myself in living in trauma that I actually it went to losing sight, and having a double transplant. That's when I really woke up, when I had my second chance in life. It wasn't my time to go. So it was like it was just the most traumatic experience, obviously having a double transplant, but also beautiful at the same time. And waking up from an operation that you're no longer diabetic and your new kidney is functioning. So obviously that, because I had really bad disrepair of my kidneys as well, because I went into renal failure. So from then I just thought, oh my God, all this stuff that's happened to me, I want to put it, I want to do good with it, because I'll be able to connect with people that have gone through similar or other tragedies themselves. And I wanted to show my son that life doesn't have to be this way, that we navigate our own ship. So I came across Youth at Risk, and I volunteered to be a life coach for them, and had in-house training for life coaching, and it was remarkable. It's amazing, because I thought I'll be able to connect with those teenagers that are troubled like how I was, and have a great understanding of that. So that was a great part of my stepping stone into what I do today. So then in that, I then became life coach, and then I was a team leader to help coaches coach the children, the teenagers. So that was then, and then that ran for 14 months. And many of the girls, have gone on to do such marvellous things, and it was so satisfying that I'd been a part of that. And in that discovery, I felt that I hadn't belonged. I felt like I hadn't belonged. Doesn't mean I didn't belong, but I felt a part of something, and that felt really good. Then I went on to doing some personal development on myself with this alignment program, and that's when I just went pop. At the end of that, it was just like, oh my God, and so much beliefs just left me. They really just disappeared. All the traumas that happened to me, feeling worthless, started to disintegrate as well. So that was a massive part of my life. And then I went on to train in the alignment program, being a facilitator with Greg, and learnt so much in delivery of seminars, workshops, and things like that. So always been on this wanting to help people with a mindset and transformation. So I would say it's a transformational coaching. If you want to get it a label, I don't like labels. I don't believe in labels, but yeah. So then I went on to working with Kim Bailey in the 3 principles, and still doing that to date with working in domestic abuse and mental health. And we help people empower themselves and staying in their power. But I've learned so much about myself. So when in helping others, I've helped myself. And I am so proud of that I've actually been able to turn my life around. I'm now healthy. I look after myself. Even though I've got a bit of a cough at the moment. And I really, yeah, I'm healthy. Oh dear, I've cracked myself up. Yeah, so in all of this, when me and Hayley started speaking to each other once a week, kind of like a downloading session, doing what Hayley does and doing what I do, it's good to kind of self-discover things that crop up. So we're forever learning and we're ever evolving. So everything's always changeable. Nothing's ever has to stay the same. So even in this time of COVID-19, even though I'm one of the shielded because of my transplant, I've really gone within. I've really gone inside. And in doing so, I've really seen so much about myself. So I feel like I've actually come back, what do I want? So this is one of the things that me and Hayley have been talking about doing for a good couple of months. We didn't know how it was going to transpire, but it was like, it was so helpful to us having this once a week chat of a download and helping each other, that then we wanted to transform that into podcasts and also, just really connect with people. So I think that's kind of, there's so much more about my story, but, let's not go into it too much. But yeah, so it's been, my thing is really to inspire people to be the very best version of themselves. And that's what I love doing. So yes.
Thank you, Leanne. That was lovely.
Yeah, so
I love your honesty. Yeah. I love your honesty, and the realness. And I think when you're real, when people are real, when they're vulnerable, because when you're talking about things like this, some people might feel vulnerable about if they was to open up. There's something soothing about that. There's something soothing about hearing someone else being vulnerable. It sort of says, well, yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say that you've had trauma in your life, because we always, I believe that we go through trauma to help us, in the end, to grow and to become the person we are, should we say? Because sometimes the things that we don't want are normally our greatest assets, I believe. When we see what we really don't want, you put all that energy into what you do want. It's like amazing. I wanted to, when you think about going within, how many times have you had people saying to you, well, how'd you do that? What do you mean going within? Because I remember when I would hear this everywhere. After I did Greg's course, of course, the alignment, finding the true you. I think it was called that.
Yeah. It's changed now, but it was finding the true you.
It was the best program I've ever done. And but yeah, after when I finally got it, that's how you go within. Because you'd hear people going, you go within. Well, how? What do you mean go within? You look. What do you mean? But yeah, so after done Greg's program, and what I see was going within, for people that think, well, how do you do that? Was actually, it's what you said. is asking starting to begin to ask what you want, what you need.
Mm.
That's the going within. That's what asking, actually, what do I want? What do I need? What's my purpose in life? Because I think purpose is a big one. It's quite a big one. You need a purpose. And if over lockdown, I've had a few people saying, I don't want to get up in the morning. It always comes back to they've got their purpose that day.
Mm.
So so when you think about that time when you begin to care about you want to know what you want rather than spending your life trying to help others. It has to be you first, and then what happens is when you're full up, I think that you have like an overflow where you can help others.
Mm.
Because people find it hard, don't they? They think, well, if I don't help others, I'll be selfish. That's what I've heard a lot.
That's the confusion.
I can't stop helping people. That's part of who I am. Well, yeah, but how are you feeling? Well, afterwards, I feel drained. That's not how we're meant to feel after. We're meant to feel full,
Yeah.
We're full up. We're going to then overflow to someone else. We're not meant to feel drained after.
No. No, I totally get that. It really is, happiness is an inside job.
Yes.
It really is. And the overflow of energy, we are energy. We are that spiritual intelligence, whatever word you want to use to describe whatever that is. But people feel that energy. I've started to track, it's not that there wasn't any love there with past relationships or friends or whatever. It's just that when I started working on myself, I started attracting healthier friendships, people that didn't just take. It was a two-way street. So I mean, look how we started out. I mean, I delivered a seminar, and now look, that was a great. Hayley was phenomenal on her alignment. So open and honest and authentic about what she wanted. She really was 100% participated in that. And then look what created. You had so many light bulb moments, didn't you? So and then look what's created. So our energy was really good. So it was so it kind of like it's energizing when you start attracting goodness in your life, when you start attracting healthier relationships, because then you've learned so much about yourself, and then it's kind of like, why wouldn't I why wouldn't I want this for myself? Why, what I want is this and this. So then you see the unhealthy patterns that you've had in your life in the past that hasn't worked for you. So it really is doing what works, not doing what doesn't work. That's always a great phrase. It's just not working for me, and I'm still working on stuff like that now. It's forever evolving. There is no end to this. We learn every single day of our lives, every moment we're awake. Even when we're sleeping, we're integrating something or processing something, and you wake up because your mind is rested when you're sleeping. When you wake up, you go, I mean, it's just a beautiful thing, the energy that we share amongst each other in connection.
No, it really is. It really is. And something you said, what did you say? Because I was going to...
Which bit? I say a lot.
I had a moment. When it's right at the tip. What did you say?
What, in this conversation or our many conversations?
That conversation. Hey, what did you say? Oh, yes. So when you start to attract different people. So again, I've had many people say, but how does that happen? Right. So how I started to become aware of that, I didn't become aware until after it happened. That's how I became aware. After.
Yep.
So when I looked around and I had a present moment, and I thought, oh, the people in my life are treating me how I treat myself now. So because some people can, well, why is this happening to me? Why am I getting these people in my life? It's so gentle when you say, how am I treating myself? And then reflecting back to go, well, yeah, that person's treating me like this because I'm treating myself the exactly same way. And that was a big one for me as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So people treat you how you treat yourself. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
taking from you and giving to this person, you're just giving, and you're taking from you every time. That's what's happening. And that was a really gentle moment for me, rather than beating myself up thinking, oh, it must be something to do with me. I must just be a bad person. That's a big one for people. I must be a bad person. No, actually, this is a gentle nudge to say, treat yourself a little bit better. You need to be a bit kinder.
Yeah.
Give yourself what you need rather than giving it to others first. Give it to you and then to others.
Well, it's the paradoxical meaning of selfish, isn't it? Most people, you say, it's really selfish behaviour. There's selfish behaviour where there's a positive and a negative with that, because like with selfish behaviour, like the bad selfish is doing stuff solely for yourself and no consideration to anyone else. And then you've got the good selfish, which is being selfish to self. Being selfish to self, that's a mouthful. But being selfish for yourself, so that you have the energy to help others.
Yes.
Doing things that nurture you, doing things that are good for you, because healthy body, healthy mindset, the both are aligned. So, if you're going to constantly do things that aren't necessarily good for you, your mind is more confused. You have more less clarity in the moment, so it's just like you need that time to be selfish for yourself. And what do I want?
Yeah.
And and just pause for a moment, slow down. Is this really what you want? Yeah, slow down. Yeah. I call it free falling. Yeah. When you free fall into something of that, immersing yourself with this. I don't know if this is what I want. This is hard work. I'm actually feel more disconnected to my true self than I have done. So hang on a minute, I want to get back over there, because when I'm my true self, I feel good.
Yeah.
So it's actually that word selfish is a negative and a positive in that.
Yeah, well, as you said, it's good selfish is when you do stuff for yourself and it benefits another. And this could be going to get your nails done. That's good selfish, because you're going to feel good after, and you're going to then have great energy for other people.
Yeah, whatever it is that makes you feel good, whether it's a meditation, a walk in nature, laying on your bed with a sound bath for half an hour. That's been my thing in the last 9 weeks.
You would have feel great.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Because I had one person, when they first started to get this, they said, I've got it. But they didn't quite get it, because they said, what I did was I ordered a Chinese, and I ate this Chinese in front of my kids and my husband. And I was like, well, how did you feel after? Well, you feel great. I get it. And then after, what would it be like just to share a little bit? Oh yeah, that'd feel better. So it doesn't actually, when you do the bad selfish, I know it's innocence. Trying to, it's that little step. But when you do stuff for you and it doesn't benefit someone else, it actually doesn't feel good anyway. So you're hurting yourself.
There we go.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Remember that time?
Yeah. No, sharing is care. When you come from a place of kindness and compassion, in that sharing feels absolutely beautiful. It's that going back to relationships and that trade with children, friends, family, whatever. It's that trade, and not just take, give. It's it is that trade. I think the two-way street. Especially, but just have time for yourself and be kind to yourself. I say that a lot.
Yeah, be kind to yourself. I love that.
Yeah, and just be. I'm always saying just be.
Yeah.
And then I was realizing that I wasn't just being. I was getting myself in a right pickle.
Yeah.
So it's just about just being present, being in the moment.
Yes. I'm full up.
Yeah, nothing to add, Hayley.
Yes, I just felt it that moment. I thought, do you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
I mean,
that so that's a little bit about us.
yes, sorry, waffling on as usual. Well, I really hope whoever's listening really does benefit or get something, even if it's a little something. Then we are totally satisfied. Even if what we're talking about helps one person, then
That's
yeah,
it.
job done. Job done.
For me. One person.
Yeah.
But we made someone's day a little bit brighter. Job done for me. Or if somebody,
Absolutely.
Somebody just took something from this and thought, I got it, had an insight, job done.
Yeah.
And that's what we get. Sometimes when you watch a video, sometimes I only have to watch 10 minutes. I go, got it. That's enough for me.
Yeah,
I need to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it kind of, you miss the point if it keeps going on.
Yeah.
And then you lose that. So yeah, we want people to have a better feeling when they finish listening. And if you could be so lovely, people that are listening, to subscribe to our channel, we'd really appreciate it.
Yes, because sharing is caring.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real with Hayley and Leanne.
Yeah. Have a great week, people.
Yes. Have a lovely week. And our little slogan is just keep it real.
Yep. Lots of love to everybody.
Right, Leanne. You have a lovely day.
And you, my darling.
And I will speak to you soon. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.